What is going on? Welcome to the Nintendo Powercast. It's going to be a live Q&A about all the games I played at PAX West. So we're going to give people a couple minutes to roll in here, and it's going to be a fun night talking about a lot of stuff. And I think I'm going to start with this because I've noticed it's kind of interesting. The more involved you get online, like the more you put yourself out there on, say, X, which is a cesspool, the more pushback you get just for enjoying things. And it's so strange to me. It is, I literally can't fathom it. I don't understand. I really feel like there are people that play on PC, play on PlayStation, maybe Xbox, that don't play on Switch, but then get very upset that Switch runs at 30 FPS, or that it doesn't run, as well as some of those other systems, and they're not even playing it. So I'm like, why are you mad? I don't understand. How is this bothering you? And then if it is running as well, that also upsets them. It's so weird to me. It's so strange. I don't know. I see Sunshine is here. Says, hey Josh, welcome back. Good to see you. And Kaiwa, I think they said it right. Good to hear the pod again. Yo, so glad you're here. So I'm going to kind of go through the list of all the different games that I went hands on with, and we can talk. You guys can ask any questions along the way. We'll kind of break it up into sections. So I feel like I think I want to start with, the list is long, you guys. The more I think about it, the list is very long. Bandai Namco had 4 games, so we'll start there. We will start right there. So I'm only going to go with 3 because I can't remember the name of one of them. And it's not coming to Switch anyway. I don't believe so. So first up, though, that is coming to Switch. I think that's the only one. That, and I think Little Nightmares 3 might be coming to Switch too. I can't remember, but I know the first 2 games are on Switch. So I think that one is. Pac-Man Repack. First, let me know if anybody in chat is excited about this one. If you're looking forward to this one, it has, it feels a bit dated. I'll start with that. It feels a little bit dated. It feels like an older platformer. Doesn't make it bad. It just feels a little bit older. And so just keep that in mind if this is something you're thinking about picking up. It looked good. It was still very fun. It looked like there was a ton of stuff to collect. And it falls in the list of three 3D platformers that I am currently recommending. That if you are hungry for a 3D platformer, you've got 3 really decent choices. I will say that Pac-Man is at the bottom of the list for these 3, but it doesn't make it not good. Okay? Like I had a good time playing Pac-Man, but the other 2 felt a bit more modern, a bit more polished. So I think the demo lasted about 15 minutes on Pac-Man, and I think I had made it up into a boss. I might have beat that boss. I can't remember now because it's been, obviously it's been over a week and a half. And I enjoyed the boss fight. That was probably the highlight. It has interesting mechanics because it's Pac-Man. Like I didn't know. I was like, how do I attack ghosts? Is there a power pellet or something? And sure enough, there was. You had to find the pellet, and then you could take out the ghosts. So that was good. But up until that point, I was taking damage. There were some areas I feel like I shrunk down really small, and was able to go through this little cave. So it had some very Mario-esque style to it. And again, it's a remake. So if you've got a nostalgia pull for this one, it's going to help for sure. And but I did have a good time with it. I will say, is it a day one pickup for me? I have to look at the release date and see when it is coming out, and if how busy that time frame is, and what other 3D platformers are launching around the same time. Because like I said, it was the bottom of the list, but if they find a good sweet spot for it, it's gonna be great. So I got to say hi to a few more people in chat here. I see Brandon is here. Welcome. Matt is here. Welcome. Archlord, welcome on in. Good to see you. And so if you guys are just jumping in, we are talking about my hands-on experience with multiple games at PAX, and we're just kind of going through the list. We've covered Pac-Man. Little Nightmares 3 is the next one I want to look at. That was incredibly fun. I ran into an issue where I didn't understand a mechanic that, like, basically you're in this area and you have it's going to be a 2-player experience. So especially if you have somebody to play with, I can't remember if it's online or not. It might be, but I'm almost positive it's going to be couch co-op based on the way the screen is. Your second player uses a bow and arrow and it shoots one of these enemies that comes at you and their head falls off. And then you have a hammer or a wrench and I kept trying to hit the body and I was missing. I'm like, and I did this over and over and over again. And finally the lady from Bandai was like, hit the head. I was like, okay. I thought my aim was just off. I thought I was just missing. And she's like, no, you have to hit the head. And I don't know if that's a mechanic from past games. And because I'm not familiar with them, I didn't know that. And so I literally just thought I was whiffing every time. So once I figured that out, the game, like, I don't really get too scared in games anymore. Like, it had some spooky potential. It is very Tim Burton-esque. So if you love that style of spooky, definitely up your alley. Something that will probably make you very happy. It makes me want to go back and try the other games. And just one of the things I love about, like, spookier games is when they kind of limit your movement or they make you feel a little bit more tanky. Sunshine says maybe new glasses prescription. No. It wasn't like I just was doing it wrong. That's it. I was just doing it wrong. It was all my fault. So, but I love when they kind of make you feel a little bit like you're not quite as fast, you know. And there were some platforming elements to it that, like, they were a little bit frustrating, but not enough to take away from the fun. But like you climb ladders, then you got to walk across kind of like almost like tightrope areas. Well, that, you know, with the way the camera is somewhat stationary, but it's kind of it's still like a 2D 3D thing going on. That would, if you had to do that all the time, it would probably get frustrating. But only having to deal with it a little bit, it was like once you kind of got the feel for it, it was all good. So, we are currently talking about Little Nightmares 3. So yeah, and Sunshine says, I really want to hear about Little Nightmares 3 for sure. Super excited for this game. Yes, absolutely. I see John is here. Shanna is here. Welcome. So good to see everybody. I was immediately sold on it, you know, and I'm just going to come right out and say, like, I enjoy games. Like, I just enjoy games. I enjoy the industry. I had great conversations with developers, the people that are behind the scenes making this all a reality. And to be perfectly honest, they kind of laugh at the vocal minority as they're cashing the checks. You know what I mean? Like the people online, like the internet is not real. It's just not real. I had very long conversations with people at Nintendo about Madden and the way that game kind of like blew up the channel a little bit and how many people came through and wanted to know if the game was worth it. And it was great. It was great conversations. And it was just super cool hanging out with them. So we've kind of covered Bandai for the most part. I think those were the two main games that were coming to Switch. There was a roguelike game where you play as like this koi fish. That was super fun. I'm not a huge fan of that genre, but it was like kind of in the style of like Hades. So if you're interested in those style of games and you have a PS5, I know for sure it's coming out there. And the other one I played was Digimon. You guys can only imagine what it's like for those poor people that have to run these booths when I show up. Because I'm like, is this a shiny Digimon? They're like, this is not the same game, man. I was like, oh, come on. Come on. That little orange dinosaur looking dragon just turned into a black dinosaur looking dragon. So it has to be a shiny. They're like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. I was like, can I catch them all? And they were like, are you done? Can we get this guy out of here? So no, but Bandai was super great. They gave us some VIP treatment, and it was honestly, it was honestly a really good experience. And for them, it was the first time they'd done something like that. They basically kind of closed part of the booth down and just had influencers and creators come in and do the demo. And I'm always about just trying to make people laugh and have a good time, you know. And so being a little bit of a troll, trying to be a friendly troll is definitely my MO. Mexican says, imagine just playing games because you like them. Imagine not caring what the main character's various life preferences are. Crazy. That's wild. That's wild. So that was Bandai. That was great. I kind of want to go a little bit in order. That was Saturday. We did a lot of stuff on Friday with Nintendo. So let's talk Kirby AirRiders. Kirby AirRiders surprised me. And the conversation I had with the folks at Nintendo was this game plays better than it shows. It did not, to me, we all watched the Donkey Kong presentation and we were like, sold, day one. We watched Mario Kart World and we were like, we kind of feel like we knew everything. So that was a little bit different. AirRiders was 45 minutes. And at the end of it, I don't feel like I was completely sold on it. Like this is a game I can't wait to jump into and play for a real long time. After playing it, I still don't know that it's a game that I want to play for a super long time, but it is going to fill that spot of a party game. City Trial with 16 people is going to be super fun. It was very chaotic while we were there. It was very chaotic because you would collect a ton of items, but if you didn't collect them correctly, you weren't necessarily giving yourself the best opportunity to take advantage of it. Now, the first time I did City Trial, collected a bunch of stuff, you're kind of fighting along the way. You can get different power-ups. It's honestly really fun. There's a timer counting down the whole time, but you're just running around. You can still interact with other people and like try to fight them, and you're trying to fight to get the best power-up. So there's kind of some little mini games happening there. But then when it gets into the actual mini game, it will tell you based on your power-ups which one it recommends that you play. And most of the time it was recommending for me the melee ones, which was super fun anyway. So jumped in during that demo. Some folks from Nintendo Life were there playing with us. And so I think there was 5 of us that were playing on the Kirby AirRiders demo. And so the first match in the melee, I did very well. I dominated, got first place. I was trying to get the best power-ups for the second time because I assumed I'd get put in the melee again, and I did. And I ended up just barely losing to one of the people from Nintendo Life. And it was just so much fun. And it was one of those scenarios where I'm like, I know I'm doing okay, but I also feel like there's not as many enemies on. And what was happening is he was taking them out before I could get to him. And so I would whip around and he was already running through, and he'd kind of cleared the path. And it's very chaotic, but also very fun. And that was on the show floor. You got to do City Trial on the show floor. So again, that's 16 players. You're running around trying to collect items, different power-ups. Logan from IGN said at one point he collected 100 items. I think I did 70 or 60. I can't remember the exact number. And but then he just was like, my machine was just kind of all over the place. And so you want to be strategic. So I'm excited for the depth of that one to really understand, like, because the other thing, you're looking at these power-ups going, okay, that's like a boxing glove, so I know that one's going to help me with melee, but like, what is this lightning bolt or what, you don't really know what they are yet. Like, I mean, it kind of gives you some instruction, but it's going to get better the longer we play it. So, Kaiwa says, the extra button is stressing everyone out in AirRiders. And see, I never played the first one, so it doesn't bother me at all. There's no, it's all brand new. It is completely brand new experience, and the extra button, not really a thing. We got to do the racing, which was not on the show floor. We also couldn't record the racing, and so there's no footage of that. But racing, you guys know me. I love Mario Kart. Like I enjoy racing quite a bit. This is where I kind of felt like it hit a bit of a sweet spot, honestly. It's not your typical, like, just go around the track and focus on the your gas and hitting your drifts and all that kind of stuff. It's already accelerating for you. So you don't have to hold a button down for that. You have to focus on hitting the line the best, like braking and charging your turbo or your for your corners, and that, like, it really started to open the game up for me. Honestly, that's where I started to have a lot of fun. It begins to feel like a very overall, like, well-rounded package once you mix the racing in with City Trial. And so I think people are going to have a really good time with this game once they try it. And I hope they do a demo. And that's what I told them there. I said, I hope there ends up being a demo for this game, because I think it will help sell it. It was kind of a joke. No, I get you. And it just played so much better than it showed. So if you were kind of on the fence about Kirby, and maybe you liked the last one, or maybe this is you're brand new to the series, I think it's going to be a super fun stream game. I think it's going to be very fun to play with like friends and family at home. I think it's going to be a bit more accessible than Mario Kart World. And the thing with Mario Kart World, if you play Mario Kart World, you get really good at all the tracks. It makes it difficult for those that just come over and casually want to play. If you give them the controller on Kirby AirRiders, they're gonna be able to pick it up relatively quick. There's some depth, don't get me wrong, especially when it comes to, like, but you could easily explain to them, like, hey, make sure you're picking up all this power up or all of that power up, or if you're going with this machine, make sure to go with this power up, that kind of thing. Very arcade feel to it, I guess, at the end of the day. So if that's your vibe, like kind of arcade, quick mini games, kind of in and out, maybe not super long gaming sessions, Kirby AirRiders is going to be a fantastic addition to your library. So highly recommend it. Cannot wait until it launches. I believe it's November. Very, very excited for that one. It played far better than it showed. So keep that in mind if you're on the fence. Pokemon ZA. Wow. Pokemon ZA was probably my game of the show, honestly. Probably my game of PAX West. I got to play Pokemon like right away. One of the first things I did, I immediately just fell in love with the mechanics. I loved Arceus. I had a great time with Arceus. Getting to do the mega battles or whatever they're called. It may not be the correct name. Mega evolution battle, something along those lines. Again, I'm not a huge Pokemon guy, so forgive me. But it was like a Souls-like game with Pokemon. So you're fighting this one Pokemon. I had Lucario. I remembered his name, the little blue dog, little dog ninja, right? He's doing his attacks. And you're still telling him which attacks to do. And then the Pokemon you're fighting may do like an AoE, and you've got to call your Pokemon back to the ball and then run away because you can both take damage. And then you're throwing them back in, getting back into the action. You are collecting shards to then mega evolve your Pokemon, and then he does more damage. And you're trying to make sure he's not taking too much damage. You can give him potions. You yourself are trying to not to take too much damage. And I had so much fun. I cannot wait until this game launches. I have a feeling I'm gonna no life this thing and just run through it as quickly as I can. Kaiwa says, does it mostly compare to Arceus? Yes. Yes, it's very, very similar to Arceus. I think that again, you're going to have to bear with me because it's been so long since I played Arceus, and then the way you play this one in the demo, you're not really out with wild Pokemon. So this one had you like running up to random people and then fighting them. And you could like do a sneak attack on their Pokemon and then you could knock them out. I think I'm trying to remember. They did mention that there were some differences, but I'd have to go back and I think I have it on. I think I'd have to we didn't like interview anybody, but we had the camera rolling while I was asking some questions. The mechanics changed some. I think it's kind of a mix of like Scarlet and Violet and Arceus, from if I remember correctly with what they were saying. So, but either way, it was just kind of like it was a bit more of an arcadey, faster paced experience because it's all happening in real time. You know, you're not. I think Arceus still stopped right when you battled a Pokemon. This one doesn't. Like you're just moving around and dodging and trying to stay out of the way the entire time. So it's almost an evolved version of Arceus, and I really, really liked it. I liked it a lot. And if you're a longtime fan and you haven't had any kind of spoilers, and I'm not going to say anything, there's some characters that there were some characters that people were getting very, very excited about that were making their way back in this game. Let's see. Hoffman says new Pokemon just leads to sadness. Oh, well, I hope not. I hope that's not the case. I was having a great time with it, but yeah, if you again, if it's one that you're kind of like thinking about, wondering about, and maybe you're not if you're not a huge Pokemon fan or you've been wanting to get into the series, this may be a way for you to do it with maybe you didn't like the way the old games played. This could be for you. This really could be for you. And I know for me, like, I have grown to love all the Pokemon games. I have a really good time with them. Like when it came to Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Arceus, Pearl, even Let's Go, like I blazed through the majority of those. Arceus, I slowed down a bit and then came back to and finished, and really, really had a good time with it. Sunshine says Pokemon is not my thing. Happy for the Poke community. Hope they enjoy it. The other thing that may change some people's minds on this one is the battle system. Having 4 people going at one time, also going to be new, and it's kind of, you know, you're trying to knock out as many Pokemon as you can. So that I have a feeling could be pretty fun for streams and things like that as well. So a lot to it seems like there's a lot to all of these games, which is fantastic. So now I'm gonna kind of just I'm gonna bounce around a bit with what we had access to in this room with Nintendo. So Borderlands 4, let's talk about it. I believe it's running at 30 FPS, and I know the frames are what's so important. The majority of these games are running at 30. Silksong does run at 120. As long as you're not playing on your LG C4 like me, then it won't run at 120, unfortunately. But you know, that is what it is. I digress. And so Borderlands, I'm a huge first-person shooter fan. I have been since GoldenEye, and even a little before that with like Wolfenstein and Doom, like the old days. Borderlands felt great. It felt so good. It felt very smooth. I don't know all the technicalities. If it was a locked 30, it didn't feel like there was a lot of stutter. There was quite a bit going on, a lot of enemies on screen, a lot of explosions, a lot of loot. That's the joy of Borderlands, is all the loot. And so that got me really excited for an a first person shooter on Switch 2. Now keep in mind it does come out a month after the I think there's like 4 days until Borderlands 4 comes out on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So we got to wait a little bit longer, but I think if you're Switch 2 only, it's going to be worth the wait if you're looking for something like this. And the other thing you could do while you're waiting, the other Borderlands games are on Switch. And because the art style is more like cel shaded and cartoony, I feel like, I mean, I played, I believe it was Borderlands 2 with some people from the community on a stream one night, and it ran well, and we had a good time. And so if you're wondering about how Borderlands was running on Switch 2, it's solid in my opinion. So Sunshine says the struggle is real with your TV. Yeah, some update ruined 120 FPS for me on that TV. So I don't know what's going on there. It's just such a bummer. But yeah, it was great seeing, just like, again, loot, picking up different weapons, trying different weapons, using different characters. Borderlands is just a good time. It will suck you in, I guarantee. And if you want that bleeding edge experience, don't get it on Switch 2. Just don't get it on your PC or your Xbox or your PS5 or whatever. That's what I'm always going to tell people. But if your only way to play, which shout out to Nick. I know Nick is listening, and we've had lunch now. I think this was our third year meeting up and getting ramen. I know he's excited for Borderlands, and we had a fun little experience. I was playing Elden Ring, and his son came over and picked up the controller, and the guy's like, do you have like a guardian here? And I went, I'm his cool uncle. And he's like, works for me. So he just let him play, and we just played it off like no big deal. And so he got to play some Elden Ring. And but yeah, as far as Borderlands, if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask. But it's like very playable, very fun. It's Borderlands. I don't know what else to say. They usually knock it out of the park. They usually knock it out of the park. So it's going to be great. I mean, at least the demo was great. We'll have to wait and see about the final build, but the demo was great. And what we're seeing with like Star Wars Outlaws and Madden, they're getting these updates out into these games relatively quick, and they're improving what already seems to be running pretty well to begin with, which I think is pretty awesome. I think it's pretty great. So moving on, let's talk. I was mentioned Elden Ring. Let's move into Elden Ring. That that game was coming out of Gamescom with a lot of people going, Leo, this thing's dipping into 20 FPS. It's not very smooth. How are you going to be able to dodge? I believe it was a different build at PAX West. I immediately ran out and got killed by this giant knight on a horse, but I think that's expected in a game like this. I don't know if I needed to level up more or what, so I just avoided that area and then made my way around and started fighting some smaller enemies and doing things like that. Kaiwa says, is it full price 60 or 70? I'm not sure. I think going back to Borderlands, I don't know for sure what the price is on that one, but I'm assuming 70. I think there's special editions and stuff, but I'm not sure I've seen what's coming to the Switch. I may be able to fire it up actually real quick, and I can tell you about the pre-order from the eShop. I want to say it's $69.99, and then there's probably like a special edition. It's pretty common with that kind of stuff. There's probably going to be some kind of special edition. So I would assume 70, not 60, and go from there. So Let's see. Not sure if it's true. I heard when it comes to Switch 2, it will be 60 FPS. Reasons it's coming out in October. Oh, interesting. Talking about Borderlands. Well, that would be great. I mean, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I do wonder if it's possible because of it being like cell shaded and like maybe not as graphic intense as something like Elden Ring or even Final Fantasy, which again all ran very smooth. So let's see here. We got coming soon. I'm just checking the eShop real quick to see if Borderlands is here in this list right off the bat, and it doesn't seem like it. So I'm going to go ahead up to featured and see if it's there, because a lot of times the bigger AAA titles will be there even if they're a pre-order. And there's so many games out now that everything featured outside of Indiana Jones is already out. So that's kind of cool to see. Let me just do a quick search here for Borderlands and make sure it's on the eShop. Looks I want to say I saw it on here already, but maybe it's not up for pre-order yet. And I've just been seeing, oh, there it is. Yeah, pre-order Borderlands for $69.99. And then it looks like there's a bunch of DLC. So yeah, it goes from a deluxe edition edition from $99.99 to all the way up to a super deluxe, which is $130. So hold on to your wallets, because yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, getting into Elden Ring. I have not spent a ton of time with From Software games. I did a handful of streams on Dark Souls on Switch 1, and honestly had a great time with it. I love games that are more difficult. You know, going all the way back to like Ninja Gaiden, like that was I loved beating that game. It felt so satisfying because it was so difficult, right? So I'm really looking forward to Elden Ring. It's one of those games I've held off on purchasing. I was like, oh, I'll get it on sale at some point on my Xbox. I ended up buying all of the Dark Souls games on Xbox on some good sales. And so it's one I've been waiting for. I'm going to pick it up on Switch. You know, again, you can play handheld. I don't know that I necessarily will, but just for the sake of conversations and whatnot on here, I'll still pick it up there. And from what I played, I don't really understand what the complaints were about. You know, and I know that there could be people coming into the comments and being like, "Well, you're old, you don't see it, you don't, you know." Okay, I had fun. That's all I'm looking for when it comes to these games. Like, I don't need to see every blade of grass moving in a, you know, with the wind and all that. Like, I just want to have fun. And Elden Ring was fun, just the way it was at the Nintendo booth. It was fun. It pulled me in. I want to play more. I loved getting killed right away by that giant knight on that horse, and I'm like, what do I do here? You know, the overall challenge. It was great. It was great. Again, if you want I'm going to say this over and over again, you could probably get the game cheaper and running better for your Series X, your PS5 Pro, or your PC. Go play there. Go play there if you have those options. But if you're wanting to play it on the go, the Switch is going to be very viable. Like, the Switch 2 is going to be very viable. And I had a good time with what I played. From Elden Ring, I can't remember. I think I started at Final Fantasy VII, so I'll start there. I played that handheld. Blew my mind. Blew my mind. As somebody who fell in love with JRPGs over the last 8 years, thanks to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I cannot wait. In 2019, Square gave me some VIP treatment at PAX to go behind the scenes and get some, you know, like some special treatment with this game, it was very strange. They found me on a list. I don't even know if I was there as media, and kind of wine and dine me a little bit, which was fantastic, and gave me hands on with this, and I was like, yeah, this is so good. Like I wasn't even I'm far more of an action RPG than I am turn based, but I have learned to love turn based as well, thanks to Mario RPG and Pokemon, that kind of thing. I was immediately sold. I'm like, there's just the scope of this game is just, it feels so big and it feels like this world is so alive and just so rad. And now that we're getting it on a Nintendo console, I'm so stoked. Like, I'm so stoked. It was so much fun. So much fun. Played in handheld, ran smooth, sparks were flying. The movement was great. There's so much going on, and I had a really good time with it. I had a good time with it, and I'm excited for that one. So, Final Fantasy VII it is solid, very solid on the Switch 2. Now, the game that came out this week, so a lot of people have played it. It's been one of the hottest topics on X, and I fell off with this game immediately when it wasn't coming to Switch. I just was like, I'm not gonna have time to play it. It didn't seem like a lot of people were loving it, and that's Star Wars Outlaws. So I sat down. The sweetest man I feel like I've ever met, one of the developers for the game, had a very thick accent, was just so kind, and just kind of walked me through stuff, right? Walked me through how to play the game, what I needed to do. Well, guess who finds a bug? This guy. And what was so funny is he's like, I think that's in every game. I think that's in every version of the game. So as you work your way through, you're shooting stormtroopers, you're picking up different weapons. And I just looked at him and I said, this is the Division meets Star Wars. And he's like, no one has said this, but it's from the same studio. It's from Massive. Massive makes the Division. I played a ton of the Division. I'm like, this is just Division Star Wars. And that's a good mix, in my opinion. So I'm like, okay. So now that I know what this game feels like, I'm shooting stormtroopers, getting snipers. I'm sending out my little pet that's like gnawing on their faces and stuff. I'm having a good time. The game's running great. Okay. We weren't allowed to. That was one I don't believe we were allowed to film. And then I finally get into my ship and escape this area. And as I'm leaving, I get shot. I lose my last bit of health and I die. And I end up teleporting through the closed door. And then I'm in space and I'm alive. And apparently, Nintendo Prime, I don't know if you'll hear this or not, he was watching me. Apparently, he was talking some trash about me on the Nintendo Byte podcast about how I was piloting the spaceship. And I just got to say, one, I didn't know what the controls were because it was throttle with the left stick and I was trying to move and look with it. And then it was look up and down with the right stick. So I was messed up there. I also have to invert everything. I don't know if it was inverted. So that's another issue for me. So give me a break, man. Give me a break. No, there was so much shade that we were throwing back and forth on Twitter. If you guys didn't see it, I put up a tweet. There we go. We're talking about your lack of skill. Life's different when you can't use your hacks. That was, yeah, shout out to Nadine. There it is. So I put out a tweet saying, because everybody in Nate's chat was saying, I can't believe how short you are. So then I tweeted at him saying, I've never seen Toad from Super Nintendo Land and Nate at the same time. So this must be his side gig. And he woke up to just so many messages, so many replies to that. he was not super happy with me, and I can't say what he said to me on this family friendly episode. So, um, but just know it was a good time. So I'm not surprised at all that he was talking some trash because yeah, I mean I wasn't doing well. I was struggling because I wasn't sure what the controls were. But once I like near the end before the demo ended, I finally got the hang of it, and I was like, oh, this is. I don't know if you guys play. I can't remember what it was called. Like Rogue Fighter or something like that. It's on Xbox and PlayStation and PC, and it's strictly flying, and it's all in the cockpit. It's like a Star Pilot simulator. Super fun game, like super fun. It started to kind of feel like that. I'm like, oh, I'm getting it now. I'm understanding, and so I would say if you haven't played Outlaws and you enjoy shooting stormtroopers, I guess a lot of stuff has been fixed. There was like some stealth stuff that wasn't great. In the short demo I played, I'm like, I don't know, I don't understand the hate for this game. I was like, I was immediately pulled in. Again, I will say it, I enjoy things maybe more than some people can. I'm not sitting there with this critical eye going, well, I think her hair could have been rendered a little bit different here. I'm shooting stormtroopers. That's what I'm having a blast with. Like literally having so much fun shooting stormtroopers. It was great. It was great. And I mean, I struggle listening to critics talk about movies where they're like, well, this story arc and blah blah blah. Like I'm eating popcorn and watching explosions on a big screen. And I couldn't be happier. Maybe I'm just a simple man, and that's fine. It allows me to enjoy things maybe without having to pick them apart. And so I don't, which may be not great for people wanting recommendations unless you're like me. Right? If you're zoned in on all these little things and they're super important to you, one, you're probably not playing on Switch 2, and two, maybe I'm just not your cup of tea. Wheatbread is here, lurking and working. What's going on? So good to see you. But at the end of the day, Star Wars Outlaws was fun. It was a good time. It was a good time in the short demo I had. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. So if there wasn't just so much to play right now with Silksong and Kronos and Daemon X Machina and like I'm like I don't even know where to begin. There's so many games right now. So it's a little bit it's a little bit crazy. So knowing Ubisoft, they always end up doing sales. So maybe it's one to pick up a little bit later. There's more to say about Star Wars Outlaws. The game keycard. And that has been on everybody's mind, the game keycard. And, you know, it's corporate greed. There is some new developments when it comes to the keycards. Outlaws does not run as well, or would not run as well, on the cart because the cart is so slow. I saw a breakdown of how fast the speeds are with all of these modern systems, and the Switch game cart is by far the slowest. And so for a game that is using ray tracing and a lot of this modern tech, the card is not a viable option for that. And the key cart, having the game on the system, is. And so it was good to get this information. I don't care all that much. Like I love collecting games. I'll probably buy Daemon X Machina because it is on the cart. For me, if it's on the key cart and I have to download it anyway, it just makes more sense to get it digitally. I can't lose that cart that way. That's literally that's all I'm thinking about. It's just the practicality of it. Like not that I don't think I've lost and lose a single Switch game, but my point is it's still just one of those things that like if I forget it and I go on a trip, I can't play that game. That's a bit annoying, right? But I think it was good to hear that like there are like I'm not saying this is the case for everybody. I think in some cases their games are so small they don't want to spend the money on the 64 gig part, so they're saving some money there, which I mean again, not necessarily a bad thing, especially business-wise. But then two, if the games run better on the system, and I mean, this happened on Switch 1 with Fortnite. They were like, install it internally, it's going to run better. So I get it now. And I think this is going to be far more of a conversation down the road as we start getting games that are, looking at like Indiana Jones. If it really takes full advantage of the hardware, it's probably not going to be on the game card. And then what's that conversation like if everybody's like, well, if you downloaded the game, it runs great. But if you're playing the physical copy, well, your loading time is 3 times as long. Like, that is still egg on the face for the devs. So it's like a no-win situation. They're like, here's your physical, but you're not going to be playing as much, or as like your loading times are going to be worse. Your game may not, could it potentially not look as good? Probably not. But with the loading times being longer, that is a factor. Who wants to sit and stare at loading screens all the time? So just more food for thought, but kind of very interesting to hear this information come out. And I'm honestly glad it's out there. It just means I'll be going more digital most of the time. And it's okay. Nintendo first party, I'm collecting it all. Of course, get it in my collection. Outside of that, it's nice having everything on the go. It's convenient. It's very convenient. So, and again, not a popular opinion with everybody. I get it. I understand. Preservation and all that kind of stuff. I love collecting. I love getting retro games. But I feel like what may end up happening, the same thing that happened with music, and I know I'm on a bit of a tangent right now, but now we go and collect and buy vinyls like we used to, and they're very expensive, right? It's like $42. I just bought my daughter a MGK record from Hot Topic so she could have the white vinyl. It's $50, right? So like, I think there will still be like physical media, but it'll be far more of a more of those special, like big releases. So Cryptic says hopefully Nintendo can get better solutions as far as storage so we can download more. There's so much, right? There's so much. The solution is this, and I don't know that people will like it, and I just talked about losing game cards. At least these aren't gone forever, but just stock up on the 256 or the 512 SD card expresses. And like literally, I don't know if you guys have bought cases recently, but they always come with a case that holds extra SD cards. That's probably going to be the route that I end up going. I just end up buying more of them because, I mean, you get up into a terabyte, but I think even that's gonna fill up quick. That's gonna fill up quick. So Sunshine says, love my vinyls. Cryptic says MGK vinyl is wrong. She's a huge fan, like huge fan. One of our last concerts we went to together. So it was a good time. Especially says once downloaded game started, I already knew it was coming. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no question. There's no question. It's just like music, it's just like movies. And I think I think companies like Limited Run, and I know some people love or hate them, and I actually chatted with them a little bit, about the game key cards, and they're just like, yeah, it's been some interesting conversations around that. And so, not super fun. And I know the problem is some people on the internet don't realize that they're talking to people, or that there is somebody behind that screen that has to read their hate comments and stuff over this stuff. And it's like, just be kind. Just be kind. Even if you're frustrated, you can still be kind when it comes to this. So it was just interesting overall to hear this. Oh my God. Chat is going crazy around. Nate says, does MGK even know what vinyls are? Oh yeah, he's got like 5 or 6 of them that she wants all of them. She wants all of them hanging on her wall. Spazzy says, I have like 5 micro SD cards for Switch 2 and counting. I'm going to need more of them, of course. There you go. So that's our new physical media. It's SD cards. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I guess the pricing is the reason right now, but I wonder if at some point games don't come directly packed on, like Could Ubisoft do like an Ubi collection, and it's just on an SD card instead of on a game cart? Again, the price, they're too high to do that right now. But if they eventually get down to as cheap as like regular micro SD cards, I wonder if we don't see some games go to that as their solution. Do people still count that as would people count that as a physical game if it's on an SD card? I don't know. This is I think I would. I think if I opened up a case and it was a micro SD card, I would say that's physical, right? If it's all there and I play it right off the card. So we'll see. I think there's gonna be some interesting solutions down the road that'll be similar to vinyl. And we do see this right now. The 8-bit the angry video game nerd, he has an 8-bit game coming out. There's two versions of it. One version will go on an NES card and run on an NES. The other one has like FMV cutscenes and stuff like that won't work on there. So Cryptic says if Nintendo came out with flavored SD cards, I would buy more. That, okay. That might that might work. Nate said, well, Ubisoft can technically cut out half of their game and it would still be a full game. Oh, a lot of fluff in some Ubi games. So moving on, let's see. Another big shocker for me, guys. One of the big shockers. So I've played FIFA on the Switch. That was the first time. Was not impressed. I was like, why do people like this? Not for me. I like Strikers quite a bit. Very arcade soccer. I'm not a huge soccer fan. That might change. FC 26 wasn't on the show floor. It was fun. It was really fun. I loved the passing. I felt like I picked up the mechanics relatively quick. It still kind of had that arcade yet simulation feel to it. And it had some like old school like gaming mechanics, like holding down the triggers for your sprint or your turbo, right? Like, and it was just a sprint because it makes sense. And obviously you get fatigued in that kind of game. It's realistic. But it was so much fun. And sitting with one of the developers playing it, like hearing them talk about like, I was so surprised that like they were able to pull this off and the game runs this smoothly. It honestly, I even said it. I said if FC 26 doesn't come out at 60, I don't know if it would be playable. It's totally playable at 30. Like I'm out of the whole, I'm out of the war. Like I don't even care about frames. If it's not like chugging and super like super noticeable, I'm fine. I'm fine. And I saw something so interesting that almost every major release, if not every major first party release from Sony on PS5 is the majority of them are all at 30 FPS. And yet we hear people getting so bent out of shape about 30 FPS. And I don't understand why. FC 26 played fantastic. It was from everything I could tell, it was locked in at whatever frame rate it was at, which I think was 30. It was smooth. It was enjoyable. Like shockingly enjoyable. I want to say I went into it very pessimistic. Like I went into it very, very pessimistic. Cryptic says no, sports games like soccer need to be 60. I think your mind will change once you play this one. If you end up getting it, I think and I think what people were frustrated because he says the same with basketball, inputs need to be precise. And I think 2K is 60. And again, we're playing a demo. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be stuck at 30. Maybe that's going to be the case. But it was still very, very playable. And Madden has since gotten so many updates that it now runs much better than when we first got it. Especially when I first got it, because I got it the week early. That game's running better. So they're putting the effort in to squeeze the juice out of Switch 2. So Spazzy says FPS means faster to me. Maybe I'm getting old, but 30 is fast enough for me. Don't get me wrong. I'm playing Silksong at 120. That's not a game you're gonna like. You'll notice it a little bit. I tried Mina at 120, and it was like, yo, it's buttery smooth, right? Like, if the frames are there, I'm always going to want them, but it's not a deal breaker for me by any stretch of the imagination. It's just not. It's and I have the options to play it any way I want. I'm very fortunate. I can play on PC. I can play on my Series X. I'm still having a good time on Switch. I'm having a great time with Madden on Switch. I had a great time to the point that I'm like, yo, I'm going to buy this game so I can play it a week early. And I don't even like soccer. All of a sudden, it has me more interested in the sport. And that shocks me. Like, it literally shocks me. And it's one of those things that, like, the internet has me trained almost that it's like, if you speak too highly of something, you are a shill. I benefit zero from anybody purchasing this soccer game. My only hope is that somebody doesn't miss out on something they enjoy because they've listened to somebody else say it's not playable. It's not 60 FPS. No, it was so playable. I was shocked. Talking with the developer that was there, who is a huge fan, been playing, the FIFA games for years, working on them, was like, I can't believe how great this is on the Switch 2. And obviously, he works for the company, but this was a real person, not their PR person. This is one of their devs who worked on the game that was just like genuinely hyped for how well the game was running and how much fun it was on Switch 2. And I think, I know there's a bit of they're trying to sell. It wasn't, there was nothing happening that was like, hey, our game's good, right? Like, you're not going to say anything negative. Nothing like that. It was genuine excitement from this guy about this game. And it's that same excitement that I have as I'm telling you guys right now. Like, FC26 on Switch 2 shocked me. Star Wars Outlaws shocked me. Elden Ring shocked me. Final Fantasy, Borderlands, all of it. Every one of the games that we were seeing, I'm like, they're all viable. They're all viable. If you can play them elsewhere and you don't care about handheld, don't get them on Switch. I know I sound like a broken record speaking of vinyls, but don't. And if you want to play on your PlayStation Portal and you enjoy that laggy experience, do that. If Microsoft's cloud gaming, I've played on my phone before with my GameSir controllers. So that that's totally an option as well. But I was very shocked by the majority of these games. Now let's talk a bit about Silksong. I just picked it up. I've been playing it. I didn't actually play it at PAX. You had to get like a raffle to even play it at the Nintendo booth because they knew everybody was going to flock to it. I don't know if you guys are aware, but the eShop was an absolute mess on the I think the Switch 2 eShop, basically like annihilated. I think Steam was going through it, and it's been fantastic. I'm kind of tempted to go back and play the first Hollow Knight after I finish this one, because I don't know that I gave it a fair shot, or they may have just really fine-tuned and brought the best parts of Hollow Knight to Silksong, and that's why I'm having such a good time with it. Like, I love like struggling with some of the bosses. I haven't struggled too badly, honestly. I think I've only done like 2 of them so far. and I think that's all I've done, and it has been fun. I mean, you guys know me. I love Mario Kart. I've been doing our track of the month is Wario Stadium, and let's see if it'll. I plugged in my. I'm playing wired with my Pro controller now because like I need those inputs like spot on. Like I'm that's how I've been playing. Like could have been a placebo effect. I don't know. But I did my run in Mario Kart. I had been struggling, had not been able to finish a run. Plugged the controller in and immediately set my record, which was 3 seconds higher than the Nintendo Ghost. I know that's not impressive by any means, not my point, but I wasn't finishing my I wasn't finishing my time trials. I felt like I was not hitting my jumps as accurately when I was unplugged. As soon as I plugged that thing in, I felt like I was dialed. So maybe something worth checking out if you play at a setup like I do. That plugging in maybe worth it if you need some of that precision. So I want to like briefly mention a few other games. Cryptic, we'll get to that question in just a bit. I'm gonna kind of shotgun through a bunch of them, you guys. There was Yuka Replay, fantastic platformer. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Met some of the team that at least some of the PR, I think some of the developers or there's other studios I think maybe helping with the publishing. Yuka Replay, so fun. Like just felt modern, felt like Banjo-Kazooie, and it I can't say enough good about it. Like, do not sleep on Yuka Replay. So good. Um, Sunshine asked if I'm using the new Pro controller. Yes, I am. So there's an option, just in case you guys, a little side note, there is an option on the Switch that you go in and you tell it you're doing a wired connection. It shuts off your NFC, which doesn't allow you to scan Amiibo. You just turn it off if you need to scan Amiibo or use a different controller. But it will give you that wired, like it'll cut your input lag or anything like that. Because I was just feeling, I'm like, I'm hitting these. I have a monitor that's like, I think it's like 3 millisecond or something like that. So I know it's not. I know that's not the one or the absolute fastest it can be, but it's pretty close. It's a gaming monitor, and I'm like, something's not clicking with me. I plugged that thing in, and I was like, there it is. So, just something to keep in mind. But yeah, Yuka Replay, so good. Bubsy 4D, you guys, if you didn't see my video where it shows him like doing a little glitch and he doesn't get his t-shirt on, and they have to blur out his front and backside lower section, even though it's covered in fur. It was just like a joke that some of the I believe it was developers didn't even know was in the game. Shout out to Nick for telling me about that, and then having me. I asked the devs to show me, and they did. That was great. Mortal Kombat collection, so fun. Poor Crawler did not. He was like, "I'm not playing this." Is how that went. There was a lot of "get over here." So it was super fun. We played 3. Let's see, He-Man, the beat 'em up coming out. That was great. Like so solid. Cannot wait for that. Toxic Avenger was also really good as far as some indie games go. Neon. Oh, what's it called? Neon Ignite, I think is the name. Keep an eye on this one, you guys. This gave serious Sunset Riders, and there's another one that came out on Switch as well, like Wild Guns, I think is what it was called. So you're shooting into the background at times, and you do that by hitting the bumper, and then it brings up your sight, and then you're shooting with maybe you're another. I can't remember how the buttons went exactly. So good, so good. Like probably like maybe even I would say my indie game of the show. Like I was so sold. It's from the same like the retro. I think it's Retroware. So good. Like so good. They did Iron Meat. They showed off Iron Meat last year. That was great. Um uh, wait. So Nate says Josh says it's like spanking a dolphin. No. But I did tell the Nintendo rep. I was like, "Oh, we get to use the Pro controller. It's like it feels like a dolphin." He was like, "That's accurate." So, yes, Nate, it's very much like Sunset Riders. Very much like Sunset Riders. Like but with elements like you're on a bike at one point, like on a motorcycle, you're jumping the motorcycle, you're shooting behind you. It just it screamed 80s arcade game, and it's so stylistic and beautiful. You pick your character. I went with the female antagonist. She comes out like walks into this busy city street and just fires her gun straight in the air and clears out the street, and then you start the level and you're just taking people out. It was so much fun. It's got some cool mechanics where you can deflect shots, and then you can point where they go. It was so good. It is an absolute day one for me. Justin will honestly probably send a code for it, and oh, it's so good. I cannot wait. Neon Ignite, I believe, is the name. So Angry Video Game played the 8-bit version. That was super cool. I'm trying to remember. Toxic Crusader was there. The Neon Ignite, and I think Angry Video. I think that was the 3 they were showcasing. There might have been a 4th one, but I can't remember. Not sure if you mentioned this earlier, but was Metroid playable? No, Metroid was not there and not playable. I was so sad. I was so sad. So that was that was a big bummer. I'm trying to think. I think this is the last game. Okay, so we played these. So I believe that was everything that would be coming to Switch. Okay, so transitioning over into PC only was Tarkov going into 1.0. Got an appointment to go in and play that game. While we were in there, I don't know if you guys know, if you know of this TikToker. He's got a red mustache. I think sometimes he does the splits on his counter, and he's always like FV shred. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. He's got millions of followers. He was in the same demo as us, so it was cool seeing him. And that game is insane. Like we jumped in. They're telling us, don't open the door. Like, don't open the door. You're gonna get killed the moment you open the door. Like they said, open it now and then back up. And sure enough, like bullets just come flying in, and you're like, it's like one shot and you're gone. So you have to be super cautious. So we're running out. We finally we get some gear. I'm very strategic. Like I'm taking it very serious. Like peeking corners, trying to drop guys as quickly as possible, and we're trying to make it to this next room, just another building. I'm almost there. The guy in front of me makes it in, turns around, a mortar hits me and just annihilates me. There was no healing yourself, nothing. I'm just gone. They get in the room. They maybe open one door. There's a room, there's guys in there, boom, they're gone. Like it is so crazy intense. It's going to be super fun when it comes out, but not for the faint of heart by any means. And that mode was, it was super cool. I also spoke, they're Russian developers, so I spoke a little bit of Russian to the devs, and they were like, "Yo, what? Like, where have you been? Like, what cities have you visited?" You know, they're from St. Pete, and I don't think I got to see St. Pete. It was one of those. I don't think it was included in the trips that we went on. So, who knows? Maybe one day. Not anytime soon, though. And so that was super cool. But then the last day, real early in the morning, we on Monday morning got to play Resident Evil 9, and I had so much fun. I had so much fun. They put you in a dark room, and they put you in a dark room. You put your headphones on. I get my controls all figured out. I'm doing my thing, and there's a gal standing right next to me, and I was like, "Yo, like, you should just go around and just start grabbing people's shoulders while they're locked in." She's like, "Oh my god, that'd be horrible." Because, you know, it's Resident Evil. Like, everybody's stressing out, right? So it's the like, Resident Evil has like Nemesis thing, right? Where he like would show up, and then I think they did it again in one of the other games. That's kind of how this is. There's like this big gnarly like old woman looking thing that like chases you and falls through the ceiling. And I learned pretty quick that like, if you go the direction you don't need to go, she will cut you off. And then you can go the direction you need to go. And she can't be in light. It burns her skin or whatever that is. And so I was getting pretty far. And if I had just figured it out a little bit quicker, I would have like I was so close to like basically opening, like getting an elevator to move. And I had all the parts. I was opening a cabinet. I had to run away from her, run back in there and grab it. And then the demo ended. And I was so bummed because I was so close to being able to getting this elevator to run. But it was good. It was good. Like, it makes me want to go. I'm so close to finishing 7 that I need to, like, I'm on the boat, which if you know that game, you know that I'm like at the end. But I had honestly just got burnt. I think something like kept killing me, or like the jump scares were no longer there. I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of I went pretty hard on it when I played it, so I'm like, I need a break, and I just never went back. So I need to finish that one as well. But 9 was fun. It felt good to be playing a Resident Evil game again. It was on PS5, and so it'll probably do great over there. If we do have a Nintendo Direct, which Cryptic was asking, let's see. I want to back up a little bit, and it says, "Do you think we'll get a Direct announcement tomorrow?" I think it's very possible. It seems like the people that are typically leaking this stuff are pretty reliable at this point. So maybe Thursday or Friday we will get a Direct. Maybe those are like Thursday is probably more possible than Friday. But I've seen different dates and times thrown around for this thing, so we'll just have to wait and see. But Cryptic's also asking, I wonder if Capcom would do RE7 and 8 re-release to get native ports on Switch. I think that's very possible. I think it's very possible. Sunshine says excited for it on PS5. Yo, let's go. And I mean, if you are a PS5 fan and you enjoyed Astrobot, they have a special controller coming out. So I would make sure to check that out if that's something that you want to add to your collection. It looks like a pretty cool controller. I don't know if all their controllers have the little digital display on the front, but this had like the little eyeballs from. It looks like Eevee from WALL-E. So that looks super cool. It's just a little side note there, but yeah, ended up playing a lot of the demos were on PS5. Obviously played a lot on Switch 2 as well, but it overall was a really, really fun experience getting to play so many of those games. Nate says Sonic Team Racing greater than Mario Kart 8. Wow, that's wild. I would put Crash Team Racing ahead of Sonic and then behind Mario Kart. But sorry, not Team Racing, Crossworlds. I need to play Crossworlds on Xbox. Unless they end up coming out with a Switch 2 version of that game, because it did not show well playing the Switch 1 version on Switch 2. It seemed all right. My thing with Crossworlds and any Sonic game is just the overall feel for me is not something I enjoy. And that is because I feel like Mario Kart has set the standard for me on what like a kart racing game should feel like, and these don't feel the same. I don't know if they're necessarily supposed to feel the same, but I just don't feel like they meet that standard that I'm looking for. So, but I love the mechanic or like the gimmick in Crossworlds, and so I do want to. I'm hoping to try it on Xbox, and maybe it'll be something I pick up on sale or something like that, because I do like that mechanic quite a bit. It looks like they're going to add a lot of cool characters as well. Nate says, was Sega at PAX? I want to say not really. Yeah, not really. So looking back, I know I didn't have any meetings with them. I know like Bandai was there, Capcom was there. There's another game I want to mention, you guys, before I wrap this up. There's this little booth. So I met this really cool guy at Ukulele named Vincent. Vincent was amazing. Okay. I'll tell you a quick story about Vincent. He's French, thick accent, and we hit it off immediately. And we decided we're going to start a podcast because he is a troll, like myself, like a fun troll, and we're going to call it something along the lines of How to Burn the Bridge or Living Under the Bridge, a podcast of two trolls, something along those lines. And just because we were messing with each other so much, like so much, and it was really, really fun. He had also had a lot to drink when I first met him, so that also made it fun. And so Vincent, on one of his other games, so he's working on Ukulele like for the marketing, I believe, and then also on this other game called Isle of the Witch, and it was on Switch 1. But if you are a fan of Fire Emblem, this is a game that you should 100% have on your radar. It's on PC as well, and I sat and played for a little bit, like just to get a good grasp of the game. Fully voice acted, I believe that's the case. Again, some of the stuff blends together, but I'm pretty certain this one was fully voice acted. It had, I believe, the hardcore mode similar to like Fire Emblem, where your characters can die, and it was fun. Like it was really fun. And so if you are into that genre, that Fire Emblem kind of what do they call that? Like a strategy RPG, I think is what the genre is. Isle of the Witch is worth looking into. I don't know if it has a date. I'm gonna look it up on the. I have the eShop open right now. I'm just gonna see if I can find it. And let's see. I have the Switch 2 eShop open, so I assume it will pull, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. Isle space. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with this one. It was just that it had one little station. Yeah, so it's not pulling up yet. So I don't remember a release date on that one. I do apologize. But it was really good. So highly recommend it. Isle of the Witch. I'm gonna keep saying it. Isle of the Witch. No. So appreciate you guys so much. If there is any kind of direct news or anything like that, stay tuned. I'm going to try to get some regular podcasts going again. Tomorrow night, we're going to talk Metroid or Super Metroid. I've spent not enough time with it, but some time with it. And so that's been our game of the week for the last month. And we will get another NSO game of the week going as well. So that will be a good time. Appreciate you guys. I've missed you guys. It's so great being back. Appreciate everybody showing up for the live. You guys are amazing. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye now.